So, Hunter, you were talking about like this ritual you do when you get off work.
Yeah, so right now I have my working shrine, which I've explained in other videos, and I move a god or a spirit or a being to this shrine and put them right here when I'm going to be intentionally working with them for about a month or two. Now, right now I have Odin here, and every time I get home from work or every day, there's a few things that I do. So one thing that I do is I have this you can call it spiritual oil here. It's called the Crown of Victory oil. It's kind of like a Wiccan slash pagan combination of ingredients. So I'll just dab a little bit on my finger. Then I have this tea light candle, and I'll rub it around, and I'll repeat the different names of Odin: Odin, Alfadir, Wordwolf, Draga, Drotin. Which Odin, of course, signifies what you usually think of like so all the names together. Alfadir means he's the father of all who accept him, and then Wordwolf means that he is the kind of expert at using language, at understanding language, at transmitting that understanding to his devotees, and he also transmits to us the ability to persuade. And though I don't deceive, he also does that if anybody wanted. That's the name that Wordwolf kind of exemplifies. But when we get to Draga Drotin, that is actually what's connected to what I have right here. Draga Drotin means Lord of the Dead. So he doesn't cause death necessarily with this name, but he is the one who speaks for the dead, who leads them, and that's why right now I have his name Draga Drotin, onto this piece of paper, and then I say Lord of the Dead underneath, and I basically put some of my blood on it after I wrote it to empower the name and my connection to the name, specifically me by my own blood, and then I basically put tape all around it to kind of laminate it. So what I have right here is I have this on top of a piece of pottery I got from a graveyard, and then I have my black mirror underneath. So I'm going to be using this black mirror to try to communicate with the dead and make the spirits more comfortable and see if they have any information to share. So I have this connected right here. Now that I have that explained, I'll go ahead and go into what I do with the ashes from incense. So I used either frankincense, myrrh, or dragon's blood, which this is dragon's blood incense. So I'll put it right here, and I'll kind of let it burn down. And this is the ash holder. But I also made a sigil. I created a sigil of protection, burnt it, and put it in here so that I can kind of anoint myself with protection and connection with the grander whole, the multiverse, through the rune outages. So what I'll do is I already have some ash in there. So after I light the candle, of course, I'll just let it burn. And then I'll do an offering. And this is mead, traditional mead, actually made from the honey that comes from Texas wildflowers. And it's actually pretty good. You can get it for about $17. I'll say, Hail Odin, Alfadir, Wordwolf, Draga Drotin. So I recognize them through 4 different names in order to kind of, in order to manifest those names' effect on me and that connection to Odin that I have through those identities, through those titles. And after I make the offering, what I'll do next is so I'm basically letting I'll put a little bit of oil on my forehead, and I will basically draw the rune outages, which is basically the piece that's you call it the peace sigil that we all know and love, that's upside down within a circle. It's just that right side up. So you kind of extend your arms like a tree out, and then you have your up and down. So you're kind of like this, and I'll say outages, outages, outages. And then of course I write that rune onto my forehead, and outages is for protection, kind of connection to the multiverse. And then you can kind of see what I do next. So as the incense is burning, which every now and then you'll get a piece that doesn't keep on burning, which is a little bit of a trouble, but not too bad. So as that's burning, what I'll do next is, and for some reason this went out too. There we go. Buy good equipment, people. I mean, I basically have the materials that I can afford right now, but make sure you get a good quality equipment for your rituals. But okay, so I have the ash here. I'll use my ring finger. I'll put in the ashes, and I'll have some Nordic or pagan or kind of Viking inspired music on, and then I will trace my forehead with the Alges rune. So the middle part, and then we have the two arms, which are kind of like this. So you just want to do it by feel. You don't have to obsess over the exact design. Outages, outages, outages. Then I'll place this back, and I might, of course, move my body into the form of outages like I did earlier and say outages again and again and again. I'll put the oil back on here. I'll put the top on the oil. I have my ritual dagger right here that I actually don't use that much with Odin, but it's just something that you always want to have with you, your Athame. You can kind of use it to cast spells and move and make motions, but I don't really use it for that right now. So next thing that I do is, let me see what day it is, 7/19. So yeah, so what I'll do is, this is very piecemeal. I have these pieces of paper that I kind of just had on the shrine and I've been using bits and pieces from. So since it's 7/19, I'll write that in the corner up here. I'll just explain it, you don't have to see it. And then what I'll do is I'll grab this, I'll grab my bag of runes. Man, this incense does not want to stay lit. Let's hope that doesn't portend illy to the ritual itself. I mean, sharing it, but you know, you never really know. And then once I have these materials keep on going, I will open this bag of runes that I actually made myself by cutting a branch into pieces, carving and burning each rune into these pieces, putting a little bit of my blood on it, and then painting them all red. So you're mostly seeing red paint. But I'll just think about Odin, Alfadir Woodwolf, Draga Drotin, and then I'll kind of close my eyes and reach in, and whatever rune I kind of grab is what I have to focus on for free writing. And this is partnership. So this is basically an X, and it means it's Gebo. It means partnership, a gift for a gift, and kind of union between two entities, and kind of a intimate partnership. This can be in reference to either a friend. It can be in reference to your closeness with a god. It can be a reference to that you need a partnership in your life. And there's a lot of other meaning that I can of course go into at another time. But what I'll do is I'll just write that the shape of the rune, which is an X, and then I'll write Gebo. And sometimes people call it Gifu, so I'll go ahead and write two names for it. And then what I'll do is I'll be playing some music, and I'm not going to do it right now. I'll probably do it later. I'll be playing some music, and then I'll kind of empty my mind, kind of push out all thoughts that are not conducive to the ritual, and I'll try to allow my brain to be open to what Odin has to tell me. And it's basically, you have to have an understanding of how your thoughts manifest and how to push them out of the space that is your mental space, your mind. So once you kind of take on that feeling, and some people have to meditate before they do that, then you see what words come to you. And it's very important that you don't have music that you can either understand or that has something that isn't related to the ritual you're doing. So if you just have some, like, I have Slavic music playing a lot of the time, I can't understand it, but it is very Norse based a lot of the time. I'll have that playing, and then whatever comes to my mind, I'll write sentence after sentence. And of course, I've done this with many runes, and then basically I'll keep on doing that ritual until I feel like there's enough sentences, and I will go back, or Odin didn't have anything else to teach me. Then I'll go back and I'll not look at those sentences for many days and not try to revise anything, because that's kind of the antithesis of what you want to do in a ritual. And then also throughout the ritual, I will be putting this incense jar or this container and kind of tapping the incense so that more ash falls into it. Specifically, I've been using this for this ritual, so everything you see on it, I cleared off the ash before I started working with Odin this month. So this is all the ash from various incense. So right now, the one thing that I also do that I would recommend is that you have some sage down here. You have good pieces of white sage. You can use mugwort as well. Mugwort is more appropriate. And then you have a censer where you burn the sage and you kind of light a piece after piece and allow the smoke to come up and kind of around the altar cloth and kind of waft around, and then that will help you both purify the space, and then it'll also help you basically get into a state where you're no longer dealing with matter, but you're dealing with an elevated state within, and hopefully the purpose of it is to connect with that higher state where the gods exist. So I use white sage. You can use mugwort as well. But besides that, that's basically the ritual that I do every day when I come home. And then I might do some other stuff that I can explain another time. But hey, any of you have any questions, comments, concerns, shoot them down in the comment section below. Thank you very much, Dre, for filming for me today.
Hey, no problem, Hunter.
And,
you know, man.
Yeah, and we're going to actually go do some more YouTube stuff tonight. But if you have any questions about the ritual, feel free to ask, and I hope to see all of you on the channel in the future.